Parents of Reddit, how do you feel when your kid brings back a girlfriend, boyfriend? How do you decide whether you like them or not? My 4-year daughter introduced me to the 5-year neighbor kid as a boyfriend. She told me he's really good at running fast and he appreciates snails as much as she does. Needless to say, this is a keeper. What is it about fast boys? I remember in grade school the fastest dudes had every girl swooning over them. My elementary school husband was the fastest kid on the playground. That's right. He was so fast, I had to put a ring on it. My daughter just started dating. She was mortified when I picked them up and asked if everything was Gucci. Next time ask if they're having a ye time. Doesn't work in the sentence. Makes it better. And use the word finna loads. Doesn't matter if your use of it actually makes sense or not. You all gonna have a finna good time? You all gonna have a finna yeet time? You all finna yeet as frick fam? My daughter, 13, wanted me to meet her first real boyfriend. I was nice and pleasant, but I knew it wouldn't last cause he was all looks and no brains. Of course, as junior high relationships go, it was about a 2-month ordeal. I think all parents should try and be cordial, unless the person feels like a serial killer or something. When they interact and help out the rest of the family. When my daughter didn't understand her homework and then her sister's boyfriend helped her, it showed how much he actually cared. I like to think I would do this, but I probably wouldn't understand the homework either. Have a sibling's significant other help you. I'm just imagining the whole Bradbury tribe in someone's living room, helping someone out with their homework. RIP, I will literally never be the kind of guy to go up to someone's dad and be like, hello dad, it's okay if I call you that, right? You catch the game last night? I noticed that 68 Camaro out front. What a beaut. I see where she gets her taste, wink. At most it was always a hello, how are you? And not talking to them again unless spoken to. Even with friends' parents as a kid I was like this. I'm really lucky to be with someone whose parents speak a different language than me. My mother has always been accepting of everyone I've ever dated, but realistic about their faults. My family immediately welcomes them with open arms, but just warns me if they seem off for whatever reason. I think it's a decent system. This is how my mum operates. She let me make a lot of mistakes, but always told me what she saw from her perspective and her concerns. However, it always ended with, as long as you're happy, that's what matters. I agree, as a parent you have to be this way or risk alienating child, which leaves them with no support as they are too afraid to admit they are wrong. We have had both sides of the spectrum and can say we approach them with open arms. Funnily enough, it's our friends who will tell our kids if they aren't right, lol. Not a parent, so I called my mom. She stated, and I quote, I like all of them until they give me reason not to. Then I never tell you whether I like them or not. So I don't influence your own judgment. I cannot choose for you, although sometimes I wish I could. Mrs. Unappreciated Son. I like your mum, dude. Thumbs up with light skin tone. Calm down bro, she's married. It's about respect, if she treats him right, and compatibility. On the other end, not her dad, but my girlfriend's roommate is this old grizzled Marine dude. She told me that he liked me, because I didn't try to get him to like, which apparently most people do. I was just myself and acted naturally, which he appreciated. Just be yourself and the people that will like you, and the people who won't. But always be respectful. You bought him a box of crayons. Admit it. Nothing bribes Marines like a nice boxed lunch. Genuine question. Would this actually work? Like, say I was into this girl, and her dad was a Marine. Would he kill me if I introduced myself with a box of crayons? Or would he be like, that's hilarious? My eldest is 15, and boys in high school can be, gross. The way they speak to girls, and girls to boys, is just so far out of line it makes me ill. But her boyfriend is respectful to her and her family. Most importantly, they're the same brand of weird. They FaceTime 19 hours a day, I swear. But yesterday they had an entire conversation about penguins, both using the same weird fake Russian type accent. He's her safe place and without very good cause. I'd never get in the way of that. That sounds very cute. Hopefully things continue to do well between them. Be careful, comrade. Those penguins are up to something. They're fellow comrades. Oh my god, this is my favorite. I love that you love their brand of weird too. Well, they've all been fine so far. Except for one. It's the only time I've ever gotten mad enough to kick someone out of my home. He tried to get me to believe that he didn't know what a potato was. Not a parent, but my parents have talked about my boyfriends. They liked most of them, but my dad said there was one he specifically didn't like right away. I dated that guy for over a year before he cheated on me with his ex and left me for her. My dad said he didn't like that guy because he reminded him of his ex-wife who did the same thing to him. Some people just have good gut instincts. And experience. Well, I wouldn't call it a good experience. It's more like plus XP than I'll forever treasure this memory experience. Still worth something, though. I said, whatever you do to my daughter, I will do to you. I've been stuck giving him emotional support and validation for 3 years. That freaking bastard. He played you like a fiddle. Well, my mother's decision is 90% based on if she's Catholic or not. Can't say I'm a fan of her method. LOL, same here. Gonna be a rough one when she meets my family and mom's like, nah. Gonna support my girl the whole way through though. Easy decision. You know, I thought my mother would be the same way. Raised Catholic, so I expected that my wife would need to be Catholic too. Just got married to my Muslim wife last month and my mum threw her bridal shower because she loves her more than she loves me, and because the feeling was definitely not reciprocated. My wife's family. People suck. I feel excited for them. It's that wonderful time at the start of a new relationship and it's exciting to see them happy and enjoying this new experience. It's still quite new for me and them, so as a parent I'm still learning. I've been fine with all the people I've been introduced to so far, maybe as I know that the likelihood is these relationships won't last, so for me it's not an issue if I don't take to them. Time will tell once their relationships become more serious. One kid started dating at 15. Dates all through college, never broke up and been married 8 years, so you never know. My son started dating a classmate at age 11. It was on and off like you would expect at that age. But they started officially dating at 14. They'll be 17 soon, and I'm curious to see what happens. We love her like a daughter and would hate to lose her. But that's not really my call. I had a friend like that. He dated his girlfriend from elementary to high school. They broke up near the end. It devastated all of us. They were an example. My parents both instantly liked the first super nerdy boy I brought home. He didn't even have to talk before my dad was beaming at him. It was weird, to be honest. I married the nerdy guy, so their instincts were good, so I don't know. Edited to add. My first silver. Thank you, kind Reddit stranger fam. My stepmom is pretty anti-nerd, so I was always nervous when my super nerdy husband and I visited. They just seemed like oil and water, with zero in common. Then one day they hung out for 4 hours together in a hospital waiting room while I underwent surgery. To this day I have no idea what they talked about, but my stepmom is now my husband's second biggest fan. She will gush about what a good guy he is for me, and how happy she is that I married him. I really wish I could have heard that conversation. He fixed her iPhone. She's agonizing over what miracle he worked in that waiting room to win her over, and all he did was beat a level for her on Candy Crush. Right? This happened to me too. I was having some doubts early on and expressed this to my dad after he first met him. His response was, he's a nice guy, just date him. I was like, if you like him so much, Dad, why don't you date him? Sure enough, I ended up marrying the guy. Sure enough, my dad married the guy. Would have been a better ending. I first met one of my kids' partners when they both joined us on a weekend away. We had a discussion on some general subjects in which he disagreed with me. He defended his position rather than defer to me. Good chapter. My Phil and I disagreed on something mundane not more than 15 minutes after we met. He immediately told me that I am as ugly as a crocodile, his favorite insult. I laughed at that and it puzzled him that I am not intimidated. I told him that it is exactly the kind of thing my own dad would say when losing an argument. At the end of the evening, he told me that I have good manners and that he is proud of his daughter. Rip, Phil. Just because you disagreed with him doesn't mean you have to kill him, jeez. My husband and I always like the person unless there's something terribly wrong with them. First of all, we want our kids to trust us and never to disregard our not liking a potential mate, because we never like anyone. Secondly, we would never want our kids to feel like they have to choose. It's their mate, not ours. Thirdly, most young people are fairly okay, so no point in acting like no one can be good enough for our precious babies. Thirdly, most young people are fairly okay, so no point in acting like no one can be good enough for our precious babies. Not a parent, but a protective big brother to a little sister in her 20s. This is one thing that has surprised me a lot. People always make jokes and comments like, oh, you must have your hands full with that one. Talking about my sister, who's objectively attractive, but she's never brought home a real a-hole. Not many guys coming into a new house would be rude to my dad and I. That's super rare. My sister's first boyfriend was an a-hole, but she never knew how much we hated him. She knew we didn't like him much, but we never really told her just how despised he was until after they broke up. She was horrified that we didn't say anything, but we knew that if we had, she would have dug her heels in and stayed with him longer out of spite. So we let it run its course. She found out later that all of her friends hated him too. Some had tried to tell her, but she brushed it off. Now she is with an amazing guy that treats her like an actual human being, and I have secretly been helping said guy ring shop. Worked out for the best.